Boom. Mic check. There we go. All right. The device was for some reason turned off, but good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Rise and shine. How are you guys doing? Another day. Another day. Let me make sure I have the right chat open. By the way, we finally hit 20K on the second page. Finally. I'm happy, excited, ecstatic. That's cool. All right. Let me close this window because I actually like to have the chat up on the big screen on my right side. So this morning is sentencing. Good morning, everybody. What's up, Home Straight, Christy, Beach Bum? That's TLC is me, Swan, Natalie, Beach Mill, Maz, Mercat, Amethyst. Oh, I gotta make that playlist too for the members, the new playlist. So anyway, this story. And the story is about a woman. I mean, I vaguely remember. We covered bits and pieces of the trial, like very small. When I say bits and pieces, I really mean like a bit and a piece of the trial. But they found her guilty of reckless homicide and girls shooting. So she killed her own 5-year-old daughter. Her own 5-year-old daughter. This is from reckless homicide in 2019. She came up with all kinds of stories. There's a 911 call, all this stuff. She tried to blame Tom, Dick, and Harry. She even tried to blame her 2-year-old son. Okay? Wild shit. So the night of the murder, Howington, her name is Robin Howington. She gave investigators conflicting stories in the hours after police came to her drive home, Balsam Drive home in September 2019, and found that Destiny Oliver, the 5-year-old, had been shot. Howington initially told investigators it was an unknown man that came into the house and shot Destiny once in the chest before escaping in a black Chrysler 300. She later said the girl's father shot Destiny before fleeing in a white Chrysler 300. Authorities found a gun hidden in the bush near the home. Howington accused her boyfriend of stashing the gun, but a neighbor captured the video, and this heifer, I'll just say it nicely, that's a nice word, I think, right? Heifer was caught on video stashing the gun herself. Okay? Let's see what other details they got. I don't know how long this will take today. I don't think it'll take too long. I don't know. I mean, they'll do probably the impact statements. I don't know if they have to work through things like in that Rust trial where they kind of like had to figure out a few things. I don't know if they're going to go through that today. Howington then changed her story for a third time. Police saying she wiped down the gun and hid it outside after her 2-year-old found it in the closet and shot the girl. Ain't that some, like, despicable stuff? To blame your own 2-year-old child. The baby father, some random guy, and then the 2-year-old. I mean, Lord Almighty. So we're just waiting for them to get started. See what else is going on in the world. Oh, last night, Israel struck Iran, so that was a pretty big deal. It was, I guess, it was in retaliation. So I don't know if Iran's gonna retaliate. I don't know. I went to sleep after a certain amount of time, so I don't know if Iran responded back. Let me see live updates just for the people following stuff around the world. So it was getting kind of messy, a lot of really tense last night. What else we got? Oh, wow. Tesla's recalling 3,878 Cybertrucks that have been shipped to date due to the problem of the accelerator pedal can get stuck, putting its drivers at risk of crash. I've noticed that Cybertruck thing has had quite a bit of issues from the time that I've watched it in its inception. The whole now this accelerator thing is the first time I'm hearing about it. Almost makes me think about that Bentley that drove like 100 miles an hour, speeding and crashed into like a toll or something. And then there was the cold weather with the Teslas, where if it's too cold in certain conditions, the battery won't charge. All kinds of little weird knickknacks. So that's just another one to the $100,000 car. Well, I think it's starting price. Somebody here said, because if you guys know all the Boeing issues that was happening, good morning. Somebody here said Boeing has announced they're planning on introducing flying cars in Asia by 2030. Would you fly in one? They need to update those planes. They need to make some new planes. Yeah, they want to have flying cars by 2030. Boeing invested $450 million with Whisk, a company working on a flying car. Yeah, no. I'll try out the version 4 or 5. Let the other people test out the beta, the new versions of it. I'll test out the later versions. I ain't getting caught up in that. Oh, there was this thing last night. I was almost going to cover this on the second channel. There was this trans person named Andrea Yee. And this person was planning on doing a school shooting. And what was interesting is that there was a 129-page manifesto that was released. I decided not to. I downloaded the manifesto and I started looking over it. It looked interesting, but I was like, I saw what they did to Steven Crowder when he brought on a manifesto and he got like a strike on YouTube. So I figured I'll wait and see if other people cover it. If not, then at least on YouTube, I'll leave it alone. I'd have to cover it somewhere else on an alternative platform because I guess you can't talk about those things or show those things. But pretty wild. Let me see what else we got. Sebastian Rogers, that case is just a whole mess, huh? Good morning. Oh shit! But I knocked my shit over. So as far as the trial, too, again, I'll just announce it again. Upcoming things. The trial Monday morning. They're still going to be doing, I think, jury selection. So opening statements is not going to be Monday morning. I don't know if it's going to be Monday afternoon or starting Tuesday. So whenever they start, the actual trial will start. Saturday night, we're going to be checking out. We're going to be hanging out on Discord. We're going to check out the fight. Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. I'm really pretty excited about it. They've both been talking a lot of crap. They both have pretty good fighting records. I don't know anything about them really, though. I just heard about them recently. So they've both been talking crap, especially Ryan Garcia has been talking a whole lot. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to turn out. So tomorrow night, we'll be hanging out watching that. I saw that Jennifer said Tennessee courts have been arguing the release of the Covenant Manifesto. That's who he got in trouble for. Releasing that manifesto and talking about it, I guess, or linking to it. And yeah. I don't know. I don't know why. The only thing I could think is like I guess they feel like if people start putting out those manifestos that it's going to encourage other people, that these other like school shooter wannabes or like maybe hoax. Did you see the press conference today? I don't know if it's, like these people are going to be like, wow, like if I go and shoot and kill somebody or kids and then I write up a manifesto, I'll finally be able to get my message out to the world. And so I don't know if that's like these people trying to like stifle that, like kind of like not encourage these people to like notoriety, just like how they don't want to mention their name sometimes. Oh, Ryan Garcia got music coming out?
Highly favored. Suits Taylor. Highly favored.
Oh, so Garcia got some music coming out, apparently. Boxer. Allez, blé. Buffalo Fever. Allez, blé.
Highly favored.
Oh.
Highly favored. Suits Taylor.
Allez, Fever. I'm blessed. Oh, it's dropping today. 12 p.m. Eastern. Video premiering. Okay, all right. That boy really promoting. Allez, bless. YouTube don't allow manifestos, but allows harassment and bullies on the platform, right? And Ginger O Snap says, thoughts on Paul brothers wanting to fight Mike Tyson? I'm excited about it. I mean, I saw some people say negative things, like it's messed up and why they're doing that to this guy, and it's not fair to like Mike Tyson and the age difference. I mean, I've seen a lot of different things. I've seen people say it's messed up to do that like the Paul is taking on somebody elderly. But I've also seen people say that Mike Tyson's going to destroy this guy. I've seen Mike Tyson looks good, man. I've seen his training clip videos. That's another one we'll watch on Discord. I've seen his training clip videos. He looks like he's doing good. Looks like he's in shape. Bulk. Got the, stamina. But I don't know. There's I forgot how many years age difference there is between the two. I think it's going to be fun. It should be fun. I'm sure they're making a lot of money. A whole lot of money. Did you find those deleted tweets from Garcia? He's deleted so many, so I'm not even sure which one specifically. I know the other day, you're probably referencing the other day that I was watching something, he deleted it. He's always deleting stuff. Allez bless. Songs sound kind of dope, I can't lie. Allez bless. Highly favored. I don't know if he's highly favored, but let's see here. Oh, check this out, man. Check this out. Mel, can you find out the true facts about what's going on with Sebastian Rogers? From what I've seen, there was that United Cajun army, I guess, and there was a lot of sus things about them. I think I really was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I don't know, man. I think they're kind of questionable. And I saw how they went after one YouTuber, which I get one thing in defending yourself, but like falsely accusing somebody of stuff too. Like I thought that was weird, and like why are they doing that? And then the other organization, Uvalde something Foundation or whatever, they backed out too, and I thought that was weird. Let me see if they ever made any official statement. My thing I'm wondering is there anybody even searching for Sebastian at this point? Let me see. Our foundation today has literally been contacted by hundreds of individuals via messages and emails concerning Sebastian Rogers. Our efforts to locate him are in our recent release in this regard. While we're not law enforcement or associated with their investigations, our stance as an advocacy group and potential culpability remains, and the foundation's work focused on finding Sebastian continues. Unfortunately, we cannot provide any additional details at this time so as to not compromise law enforcement. And now an additional private progress. The father did hire a private investigator. Private progression investigation. Details aside, we're attempting to respond as promptly as able to individual emails outside of any law enforcement, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. I thought they were pulling out or whatever. Now it's like that one sounds like they're actually doing something. I don't know. I am curious to know if anybody's actually searching for him or where the investigation has gone. Are the cops still, out looking in the woods, or has this turned to he went with somebody, or there's some type of criminal aspect, or he just ran away? And as far as the criminal thing, there was some misinformation put out. I think it was yesterday or something. And Sebastian Rogers spoke with Sumner County Legal about this report. They said it should have read open investigation and that criminal investigation was a mistake. Somebody emailed these people and they said that they were requesting records. I think it was the private investigator. And they told the private investigator, we can't send you anything because this isn't a criminal investigation. And it should have read open investigation. So, okay. The difference between misinformation and disinformation. So misinformation, could be just unintentional. I think disinformation is like intentional, right? I don't think it was intentional. Somebody typed that over there. A lot of people do a lot of disinformation as well, for clicks and whatever. Booler, what's up? Good morning. Sebastian Rogers, YouTubers. Seth Rogers failed his lie detector test, but it's fine, quote unquote. And then Chris Crawford passes the other day. YouTubers, he's lying, he's guilty, anyone can pass. So, Booler, that's a really good question. I mean, I saw somebody say that, like, supposedly his test results were, what's the word? It means like you couldn't tell, like they just don't know whether it was good or bad, like positive or negative. It was inconclusive, right? They said it was inconclusive. That's what I heard. So I don't know. That's interesting. And then so people are saying, oh well, maybe it's because he's tired, he hasn't slept, and that kind of stuff. That maybe could have brought on inconclusive results. I don't know. Yeah, that you can like super chats. That's new now. Yeah, I just liked it. He has 15 likes. I thought that was pretty dope. Yeah, you can like YouTube added that new feature. As many problems as YouTube has, they're fixing things, I guess, working on things. Oh, I gotta fix Streamlabs too. I don't know what's going on. I was messing around with it last night. It's still being buggy. I don't know if Streamlabs is being buggy because YouTube has been buggy the last couple of days. I mean, I think it's mostly ironed out, but I don't even think that the bot's been checking in at all the last couple of days. Let me see. I really don't remember the last time it worked. Let's see. CloudBot. It's turned off. I have to turn it on again. Every time I have to turn it on. Oh, Carrie said, read the case law to issue an Amber Alert. Most don't understand the circumstances you need to issue one. Well, I don't know what Tennessee's is. I'm sure I could look it up, but I even had a friend call me the other day about her daughter that was missing, and I felt really bad. She was, I don't know, she's in her teenage years, but she ran away. Like the mother said she ran away. Like it was a known runaway. But the mother, I think, thinks that maybe something happened during that, but there's no like evidence of that. And so a lot of the times with these Amber Alerts, you can't really call an Amber Alert without knowing for sure, like if it was a kidnapping situation and you're seeing something on video, or like it was blood or something, or let's see, Sebastian Rogers. There's certain criterias that I don't know if he ever had one issued or not, Sebastian Rogers, but he did get an Amber Alert, did he? Let's see, Amber. I think you did get an Amber Alert. Yeah, on February 27, Amber Alert issued. Upgrading to Amber Alert based on additional investigative information developed during the search, which I wonder what that was. I wonder if that was a dog pinging somewhere. I don't know what caused them to upgrade it. Discord link? Yeah. Okay. I just dropped I'm going to drop a custom link in there. I'm going to join. Let me test out the bot again. Let me see. Mailing. Oh, apparently all my commands are gone too. That's another thing on the bot. So I got to fix that. Oh, what happened? Oops. Ah. All right. I have like one command. I got a lot of work to do actually on the bot. All the stuff got wiped on there. Oh, so what I was going to tell you is I saw this the other day. This
Have
creeper.
you heard of this brand new product?
Let me go to the main account. YouTube Premium.
Blood boil. A woman is shopping when a brazen creep appears to slide his cell phone right under her skirt. He may have gotten away if not for another woman who caught the incident on video and then confronted the guy until help arrived. Jim Ray reports.
That creepy guy is about to target the woman crouching by the children's bookshelf. Watch as he slips his phone beneath her skirt.
Excuse me, what are you doing? No, I just saw you put that underneath her dress.
But another
Excuse me, what are you doing?
Look at this guy.
No, I just saw you put that underneath her dress.
But another shopper confronts him.
No, ma'am, I really wasn't.
You absolutely did. Then show me your phone. No, we're going to call security.
He claims he was shopping for children's books because his sister is pregnant, but neither woman is buying it.
You've been extremely close to me this whole time. Please show me your phone.
No.
I really promise I wasn't
No.
trying to do anything inappropriate. I wasn't. I really wasn't. I'm not like that.
Obviously you are. I literally have it on video. I knew you were up to no good.
Despite his denials, police arrested 21-year-old Thomas Elliott at the Target store in Greenville, North Carolina. He's charged with 5 counts of felony secret peeping. Get this, he's a volunteer at a local church and an elementary school. Both have cut ties with him. There's an epidemic of upskirt incidents across America. Creeps using cell phones and sometimes selfie sticks to target unsuspecting women in stores and on public transportation.
I think she sized this guy up. What he did was so brazen.
That's wild, dude. Like right there. Just out in the open. Says the link is no good. I don't know how it's not. I just tested it out. I can send another one. Let me see a different link. There's a website too if you want, if that works out better for you. Let me see. Hold on. I'll turn on the AC in here. It's a little warm in here. So if that doesn't work, you can go to the website too, the Discord website. It takes put the links for my server. That'll take you to the website, and then you can try it from there. Hit join server. Yeah, the link should work. Yeah, both links should work. All right. Oh yeah, they sentenced this guy. We covered this guy, Craig Ross.
This monster.
This guy, POS. He got sentenced to 47 years.
Is hearing the words of the little girl he abducted. In a hushed courtroom, the prosecutor reads a heart-wrenching statement written by the 9-year-old victim.
Because of you, I can't sleep at night. Why did you do what you did? Did something happen to make you do this? It bothers me that you took advantage of me being nice.
The little girl was riding her bike in an upstate New York campground last September when she paddled one more loop. That's when she went missing. The search at Moreau State Park outside Albany got national attention.
We covered this story, and I heard this guy got sentenced, but I did not know that the victim 9-year-old girl wrote a letter. Wow.
After the kidnapper delivered a ransom note to the family mailbox demanding $50,000. The fingerprints on the note led authorities to 47-year-old Craig Ross Jr. She was found in this camper, imprisoned inside a cabinet. Her simple yet powerful words directed at her kidnapper's sentencing.
You were haunting my thoughts, but now I will be haunting yours. Eventually, I might forget you, but you won't forget me.
Karen Hagan is the district attorney.
He sat there with not any kind of emotion or response, which was disheartening.
The girl's aunt was in court when the statement was read. What was it like in court to hear the words from your niece?
You know, for a 9-year-old to be so articulate and eloquent with her words, and you could tell that it was a child that wrote it, but it was so thoughtful.
Her mother tearfully read a statement too.
I don't understand why people like you do the things you do.
Okay, so they still haven't started. I'm surprised. Robin Howington. Law and Crime is streaming it as well. Okay. Let me use Law and Crime, actually. I kind of like that better. All right, so we're just waiting. That was pretty. That whole story about how this guy just picked her out, you know, while they were at the family at this trip. This little, I don't know what they were. I forgot they were doing out there, and he just picked her out. Oh my God, what is going on? What in the world's going on? Police officer allegedly AR'd a 13-month-old who suffered broken bones and severe bruising. Like, you almost can't even make this up. I just... Let's see. Saw this on Twitter just now. I almost kind of want to move on from all this. To report severe bruising to a 13-month-old caused between April 11th and the 15th. The victim was transported to Hershey Medical Center, where the staff determined the child sustained broken bones and severe bruising. Criminal complaints specified the injuries, saying that she suffered a broken tibia and fibula. Medical professionals also noticed the girl showed signs of sexual violence. 13-month-old mother told investigators the victim fell during a bath. She also reportedly went on to provide implausible explanations for several other injuries to the victim's body and said the family dog caused the child's severe bruises. So mom, I guess, is covering up, I guess. Police identified Stephen Cooney as the suspect. During an interview, he told investigators he changed the girl's diapers and bathed her as she suffered the injuries in the restroom. The victim's mother also told authorities Cooney locked himself in the restroom with the child and she could hear her crying and loud sounds. Cooney eventually confessed to police that the victim sustained injuries while he was watching her alone. Authorities did not specify the relationship to the child between the police officer and the child. April 16th, Dauphin County District Attorney's Office approved criminal charges against Cooney. He faces multiple charges, including R-ing of a child. Wow. I don't know. Was the mother in on it, or I don't know? The mother said the dog did it? Yeah, 13 months old mother, the 13 month baby or child. The mother told investigators the victim fell during a bath. I mean, I don't know if that is that the story he told her, But then she went on to provide implausible explanations of several other injuries to the victim's body. And the family dog calls it. Booler, thank you for the 5. Maybe we should check that out. Some of the clips from Riley Strain. Also on Riley Strain's case, no foul play. This whole roofie / barbecue drink fiasco probably had something like smoked old fashioned. Probably had something like a smoked old fashioned. I think I've tried an old fashioned. I've had it a few times, an old fashioned. It's a nice drink. I remember one time a friend had me try it. It was like a really, really nice one. It's whiskey. It's like a chill type of thing. I couldn't see myself really partying with that shit, but kids these days, you know. But yeah, I don't think there's any. I never thought there was any kind of foul play either with the Riley thing. People keep wanting to make it more than what it is. I think it's just this tragic accident, and he was with people that don't seem to care. You know, something we could do, I just thought about this since we're waiting. We could watch the mother's testimony. Blair, what's up? Good morning. We watched a couple of clips. We listened to the 911 calls. I don't think we watched the mom testify. And give her. We should watch that, actually. I think it's a good idea. I think we should watch her testimony and see what we think. Robin Howington testifies. And I see you killing it with the Karen Reed trial. Good for you. I plan on jumping in, I guess, whenever they start. I'm going to try it out for a week and see. I think it should be a really interesting trial. Even though I don't know much about it, I guess we can pretend to be jurors and see. Okay, we're calling daughter's murder. I want to know. I want to make sure I get the whole interrogation or the whole testimony. Testimony. There's a 40-minute clip. Let's see.
Okay, Robin, I want to talk to you a little bit about Thursday, the 12th of September, 2019. Did something happen on that day?
Yes.
Can you?
Okay, so I guess there's this. I'll leave this with the volume on in the background. I guess there's this.
Tell us what happened.
Antoine was supposed to pick Destiny up from school, and he did. Instead of
and again, Destiny's the 5-year-old girl that was murdered.
Keeping her till around 7, he came to my house instead and started acting irate because I had a new boyfriend that he didn't know anything about.
And how soon was this after he picked up Destiny from the school?
Not very long.
And so he was coming and dropping her off. Is that what happened?
Yes.
And did he and Callie get into a little argument out front?
Yes.
And as a result of that, did you ask him to leave?
Multiple times.
So right now, this is the defense attorney, which is like her people. She took the stand. She testifies. So he's asking her about the day. So after this, then there's cross-examination.
Times.
And did he leave?
No, sir.
As a result of that, his not leaving, what did you do?
I went into my house and got the gun and brought it outside and asked him to leave.
And what did he do in response to that?
He took the gun from me and he took it apart.
And what did he do with it?
And threw it on the ground.
And what did he do after that?
He went to his car and attempted to back up and hit me.
And then he left?
Correct.
And what happened to the gun on the ground?
Callie picked it up
Let me stop you there. Callie is?
My boyfriend at the time.
And his name is?
Daniel Hensley.
Okay. And he picked it up?
Yes, sir.
And what did he do with the pieces?
He put it back together.
If he hadn't been there, would you have been able to put the gun back together?
No, sir.
So after Antoine left and Callie picked the gun up, what did the two of you do?
We went inside where the kids were.
And who had the gun at that time?
He did.
Did you ask him to do anything with it?
I told him to put it up because I had to tend to my kids.
And had you ever told Callie where you kept that gun?
No.
And where did that gun come from?
Callie.
Why did he give you a gun?
Because of the abuse from Antoine and from the rape.
And what was it that caused him to want to give you that gun?
Because I was scared and having nightmares.
And how long did you get that gun before this incident happened?
Just a couple months.
And once he gave it to you, did you do anything with it when he gave it to you?
No.
And where did you put it?
In my closet in a black bag.
And in that couple of months that you had that gun, before September 19th, or say on September 19th of 2019, did you touch that gun again after you put it in the closet?
No, sir.
Did you go check on it regularly?
No, sir.
Had you ever fired the gun?
No, sir.
And on September 17th of 2019, when you were speaking with Wardlaw, and he told you several times that Gavin could not have reached that closet shelf, right?
Yes.
And you told him that he had gotten to the closet shelf because he would sometimes put on your high heels.
Yes.
Okay. So when he told you no, that wasn't true, do you recall what your response to him was?
Yes, sir.
What was that?
I told him that I assumed that Gavin had either moved a stool or the gun was not where I kept.
Take a second there. I want to make sure the jury hears either Gavin moved the stool or what?
The gun was not where I kept it.
You told the police, you told Riddle at the house, and then you told both of them in the interview room that you suffer from PTSD.
Yes, sir.
And is that true?
Yes, sir.
And are you being treated for that?
Yes, sir.
And when did you get this diagnosis of PTSD?
After I was raped.
And are you receiving counseling?
Yes, sir.
And I think we all know at this point that you have medication for PTSD.
Yes, sir.
On that interview on the 14th of September, probably 3:30, whatever it was, in the morning, as that interview was ending in the KPD building, they went through your purse, right?
Yes, sir.
And you had a lot of bottles of pills in there. And were you prescribed all of those?
Yes, sir.
And were they in their prescription bottles?
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but we're going to talk for a minute about the rape. When did this happen?
March of 2018.
And where did that happen?
In Kingsport, Tennessee, at a landfill where I was doing community service for failure to appear on a speeding ticket.
And so you didn't show up for court on a speeding ticket, and a judge ordered you to do this community service.
Yes, sir.
You recall how much community service he ordered you to do?
30 days.
And how did you get to this landfill every day to do this community service?
An officer would drive us on a bus.
And what were you doing at the landfill?
We were going through recycled cardboard to make sure there was no trash in it.
And at some point were you asked to do another job rather than do the cardboard?
Yes.
And what was that?
Clean the offices of the people that worked at the landfill because they were sick and not there.
Okay. And is that where this sexual assault took place?
Yes, sir.
And the person who did that was the person who drove the bus?
The officer that drove the bus and was supposed to be overseeing us.
And you asked to prosecute that case?
Yes, sir.
And to your knowledge, was that man ever charged with the rape?
I assume so, yes.
You know that he ended up pleading to making a false statement to the police, to the TBI?
No, sir.
Didn't know that. Did the prosecutors up there ever talk to you about that case, resolving it?
Resolving it, they wanted to not prosecute him and just give me money.
And there was eventually a civil lawsuit. It was not a civil lawsuit, it was a civil settlement.
Yes.
Correct? And you got paid how much money total?
Like $13,000.
Okay. Let's go back for just a moment to the 12th of September of 2019. Where did you get the gun from on that day?
Out of the closet of the black bag.
Okay. And where did you put the gun afterwards?
I did not put the gun up. I gave it. Kelly picked it up after Antoine took it apart.
And he did what?
I assumed he put it up.
Okay. So, on September the 14th of 2019, did you know where that gun was?
No, sir.
Why did you tell them that it was in the black bag on the shelf in the closet?
Because that's where I kept it.
I almost just want to see the cross.
I'm going to shift to September 14th.
Good question,
2019.
Mayu. Had to do an ARC kit on her.
You called 911 at about 8:54 in the evening. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What had you and the kids been doing that day?
We went to Chuck E. Cheese, a friend of mine's, and to the park.
And which park was that?
The park in Carnes.
And the police found that kind of odd that you would drive all the way to Carnes to the park rather than going to Fountain City, which is just a few blocks from your house, right?
Yes.
Well, why did you go all the way to Carnes to the park?
Because it was more modern. The things to play on at Fountain City Park were broken, and I didn't want my kids to get hurt.
So, you remember about what time you went to the park?
Around 7,
It takes how long to get there each way?
about 20 minutes.
And before leaving, had you done anything to start getting prepared for dinner?
Yes, I put a roast and carrots in the crock pot.
And what time did you get home?
About 8:40, 8:45.
And so when you got home from the park, what did you do?
I brought the kids in because they were asleep.
Did you bring them in together or separately?
Separately.
Okay. And you parked your car and brought the kids in, right?
Yes.
And then later you went back out to move the car.
Yes.
When you came home, do you remember where you parked?
Yes, right in front of the sidewalk.
Is that where you normally park?
No,
Why not?
because the mailbox is there, so the mailman can't get to the mailbox.
And that doesn't make the mailman happy, does it?
No.
So, was there a time at which you went back outside to the car?
Yes.
What were you doing?
I was smoking because I do not smoke in my house around my kids.
And what else did you do?
I moved my car.
Okay. And you've seen that video from the neighbor's porch, right?
Yes, sir.
If you hadn't seen that video, would you have known any of those times?
No, sir.
And after you get the kids inside, there's a fellow that comes to your door and he's there for 63 seconds or so, right?
Yes.
Do you know who that was?
Yes.
And who was it? Don't say the last name because it's being broadcast, but if we need to, we can get that from.
His name was Jay.
Excuse me?
Jay.
Jay. And why was he there?
He was getting payment from where he tinted my windows on my car.
When did he tint the windows?
The day before.
And why didn't you pay him on Friday?
Because there was bubbles in the tint, and I wanted to know if they were going to go away or not.
And did he come and fix that, or did he just...
No, I didn't pay him as much as he originally asked me to.
So after you got through dealing with Jay, what happened? What did you do?
I made sure the kids was okay, and I went outside to smoke and move my car.
When you came back from moving the car, what did you do?
I was walking up to my house, and it's a glass door, and I seen a flash of light go off. And when I walked in, Gavin was screaming and crying, and the gun was on the ground.
There's some tissues up there in that box.
Oh, wait, should eat them though. I don't know. So she got convicted of being guilty. For the new people that just joined, it's running late today. I don't know what's going on, so I have the screen live playing in the background behind me. So we're waiting for the sentencing to start. But she was found guilty of reckless homicide of killing her 5-year-old daughter. But she blamed everybody. She blamed some random guy that came and shot the kid. Then she blamed the father of the kids or whatever. And I don't know if she tried to blame the boyfriend. And then she tried to blame her own 2-year-old son. Her 2-year-old son shot the 5-year-old girl. So while we wait, we're just watching her testimony because I haven't had a chance to watch this yet. Oh, she got tears though. She got a tear. I saw one tear.
And did you see where?
I mean, I don't know. So if she really killed her kid, she got found guilty of killing her child. This is a hell of a performance. I don't know
where Destiny was at that point.
Yes, she was on the couch.
And was she moving at all?
No.
Did you try to speak with her at all?
Multiple times.
I'm sorry.
Multiple times.
And did she ever respond to you at that point?
No, sir.
Weird. And then hide the gun. You're right. Hide the gun too.
No. What was going through your mind at that moment?
I couldn't fucking believe what was going on.
What did you do?
I got the gun and I took it outside.
Why did you take it outside?
Because I didn't want it to cause any more harm.
And if the video shows that happens at about 8:53:53, and at 8:53:54 you're calling 911. Do you recall if you were doing those two things at the same time?
Yes, I was.
And after you put the gun outside and came back in, what did you do?
I got a towel and put it on Destiny.
And when the officer, you saw the video when the first officer arrived, Officer Cummings, correct?
Yes, sir.
And he testified that when he walked in the door, that you were sitting on the couch near Destiny on the phone.
Yes, sir.
Who were you talking to on the phone at that moment?
The 911 dispatcher.
Do you remember what the last words you said to the 911 dispatcher were?
They're here.
So when he walked in and saw you on the phone,
no,
that's when you're telling.
Yeah, unsupervised maniac says she told the jury she caught her son putting on her heels, climbing on a chair to reach the gun one time. No.
Telling 911 that they're here.
Correct.
Now, we're going to talk about that 911 call. When you made that 911 call, did you know Destiny had been shot?
Yes.
And you told them that a black male, unknown black male, entered the door and fired a shot and shot Destiny.
Yes.
Why did you tell that story to 911?
Because I didn't want Gavin to live with the fact that he had shot his sister for the rest of his life.
Bro, this is just... So she's saying she lied that an adult guy came and killed her daughter because it was actually the 2-year-old and she wanted to protect the 2-year-old from having to deal with that for the rest of their lives.
The story that an unidentified black male had shot from the door was not true, was it?
No, sir.
And you remember the interview that you had that night later on, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember Mr. Riddle telling you that saying a black man shot your child was racist? He thought that was racist.
Yes, sir.
You're racist.
No, sir.
Callie is your boyfriend, right?
Yes.
What race is Callie?
African American.
What race is Destiny's father, Antoine?
The same.
And Gavin's dad, African American?
Yes, sir.
And let's be honest, your 2 children, what race are they?
They are biracial, white, African American.
And let's talk for a minute about this gun outside the house. You did put the gun outside the house, right?
Yes, sir.
What's the objection to? Don't leave.
right?
Yes.
I'm going to show you a picture of that gun, which is in a collective exhibit 26, and ask you, do you recognize that photograph?
Yes.
Okay. Is that where you put that gun?
Yes.
Beside that shrub?
Yes.
Was it your intention to hide the gun under the shrub?
No.
Were there other shrubs back further along that wall?
Yes.
Denzel, thank you for the 10. Appreciate the kindness. You guys hit like on the super chat. Says, I appreciate all you bring to your channel. Long time sub. I wish I could be a member. It's just not possible at this time. Cheers. No problem. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for watching. And make sure you check out the second channel, because we go over there to do kind of off things, whatever kind of thing. We're a little bit more loose on the second page. So if you want to come to the second page, Ikidmel space CC, check us out there as well. We're on there last night watching this rapper that got arrested for DUI, but it was crazy because she passed the sobriety test. She did a good job with the sobriety test. I was surprised. I was impressed. Oh, we never watched Chad Dorman. We need to watch that too.
How long after the shot did you take that gun out of the house?
Not very long at all.
Have you ever been at the presence of a shooting before?
No.
As you were on the phone with 911, how would you describe your mental state?
Not very well at all.
Would you say you were thinking clearly?
No, sir.
Giovanni DeSalvo, thank you for the 5. Yes, yes.
I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what happens right after the police show up. You heard Officer Cummings testify. Is that how Destiny got out of the house?
I didn't realize that till that video.
You didn't realize that he's the one who carried her out? And there was no ambulance at that point, was there?
No, sir.
And what were you dealing with at that moment?
Gavin.
Were you allowed to go to the hospital with her in the ambulance?
No, sir.
Why not? Do you know?
The cops insisted that they would take me.
And eventually did they?
Yes, sir.
So you heard that statement, the recording of the statement with Investigator Riddle at the house, right?
Yes.
And it was right after that that you were taken to the hospital.
Yes.
The state just went through a bunch of phone calls and texts that you had made from your phone that evening.
Yes.
And we've talked, and you saw the video, and it's about 9:21:30 that you leave the house in the police car.
Correct.
And there are several calls at 9:03 and 9:21 to Tab.
Yes.
Who is Tab?
One of my friends.
And her first name is?
Tabitha.
Okay, that's thus Tab. Why were you calling Tab at that point?
To get her to come and get Gavin.
And you called Callie, right?
Correct.
And on one of those text messages, you also asked him to go get the gun.
Yes.
What were you calling him about?
I wanted him to come to the hospital.
So that's who you were talking to in the back of the squad car?
Yes.
you know what time it was when you got to the hospital?
No, sir.
And did you see Destiny at the hospital?
No.
But at some time, a doctor came out and talked to you.
Yes.
And what did that doctor tell you?
That my daughter passed away.
And you heard Officer Wardlaw today testify about your reaction.
Yes.
Was he accurate?
No.
What was your reaction when the doctor told you that your daughter had died?
I kept on telling her there's no way that it could be true.
Free crumbs, thank you so much. And Cicely, 13 months. Love Mel Chat.
Believe at that point that it could be true?
No.
And I'm just wondering what is the motive for this woman? People that have watched this whole trial, I think Kitty said she watched the whole trial. What could possibly, like, in the world, be the motive for shooting your own daughter, 5-year-old? I don't get it. Is it like payback, revenge? You know, on the father of the kids, the biological father of the kids? I don't get this shit. I really don't get it. Cicely NY, thank you for the 13-month membership. Appreciate your resubscription. Just love Mel Chat mods and all the love. #1 YouTuber. Thank you. If you haven't seen yesterday's members video, check it out. It's on my front page. We had a lot of fun. Covered a bunch of different stories. About 2-hour stream. B Crumbs, thank you for the memberships as well. 5 memberships. Amazing. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. One of the things we covered yesterday too in the members live, and I briefly mentioned it in a regular live, is the furry situation going on at a school. I was like, what the hell? Where these kids are dressing up as furries in school. And according to this one school, the kids had enough of it. The non-furry kids, the hetero, I don't know, human kids? I don't know. I was trying to make funny, but not really. The kids that don't dress up as furries started protesting. They got tired of this. They're fed up. We're not going to take it. There's video of them. Because they said that these kids are dressing up like animals and supposedly attacking them. Scratching them, biting them, all kinds of shit. Acting like animals. Literal animals. And I even heard that one of the kids said to them, I think at the girls' bathroom, there's like a litter box. I just feel like keep that out of school. Like just let, go to school, dress up. I don't know if you have uniform or regular clothes. Just go to learn and that get out. And then whatever you want to dress up as, do it at home, or if you're going to go to an event, whatever it is. But it's just gotten so crazy. I don't get it. I don't know. And the kids are saying that these furry kids have more rights than them. They don't get in trouble. You can't say nothing to them. And they're being attacked. In a Florida school, there was actually a vote held up because they were trying to bring the furries in. And they banned it from one of the Florida schools. They weren't having the furries there. That's what one of the kids was saying. Is like they even have dress code, but the furries are above the dress code. One of the kids was saying like they can't wear certain things to school. I don't know if it was like jewelry or something. There was some type of thing the girl said they can't wear, and she was like, but the furries seem to be above it all.
How would you describe your mental state in that moment?
I was in hell.
And where was your mother was still alive at that point, what?
Yes.
Where was she?
In her home in Bristol.
And what physical condition was she in?
She had her leg amputated. about a year before.
After you got that news from the doctor, where did you go next?
To the police station.
Did you ask him to take you there?
No,
Why did you go?
I had to.
How'd you get there?
In a police car.
As you were sitting in that interview room that we've seen on video here, what was your state of mind at that point?
Distraught, heartbroken, devastated.
Had you come to grips yet with the fact that your daughter was dead?
No.
Okay, let's talk for a minute about these interviews you did there at the KPD.
Yes, sir.
Do you know how long after that doctor told you that your daughter was dead that you were talking to those officers? Do you know?
No, sir.
Do you remember how you got into that room?
No.
Do you know what floor you were on?
No.
Do you remember getting into that interview room?
No.
Did they ever offer to let you leave and go talk to somebody or review some notes or?
No.
And pretty early on, you told them you were scared there.
Yes.
And why did you tell them that? What was making you feel scared?
Because I had been raped by a police officer and I felt threatened because of the situation.
And then you've seen this, you were there.
Yes.
And you've seen the videos of our friend Detective Riddle and his response to that. Did that help to calm you?
No, sir.
Did it help you to feel like the police were there really to help you?
No, it proved to me that exactly how I felt was adequate.
Kitty, somebody that's watched the whole trial, gave her opinion. She said, I think it was an accident. Not 100% sure if it was her or her son. Either way, it's her fault because that gun would have been right where he could pick it up anytime. I think some states need to have storage laws. I know Florida does. The Crumley state initially didn't have storage laws for guns.
Yes.
Do you remember a lot of it?
No.
Why wouldn't you remember it? Wouldn't it be important to you to get good facts to the police in this investigation?
Again, I'm trying not to, but if we can just not leave.
No questions.
I won't leave, Judge. Did you tell them some things that weren't true?
Yes.
Did you know you were telling them some things that weren't true?
Yes.
Did you not know you were telling them some things that weren't true?
Yes.
While you're in that room, have you yet put these pieces together that Destiny is gone?
I still don't want to accept it.
And where was Gavin at that point?
With a neighbor.
In that first interview, we have established through the proof that the hospital declared Destiny dead.
Carly says, I don't believe it was an accident. If it was, why hide and lie? Not like the baby can get in trouble. With that whole thing, that's like what I say, even with the Nikolai Miu or some of these other cases, the whole like consistent lying, habitually lying here, lying there, like constantly lying. I think it just looks so bad, especially to a jury. You know?
About 10:06, and at 11 o'clock you're in the interview room. Is that how you recall that time frame?
I have no idea the time frame.
But if I tell you it's within an hour of your leaving the hospital, would that surprise you?
No.
Judge, if she doesn't know, I'm trying to help this woman get through this story.
Ask open-ended questions. She's your witness.
On your second interview on the 17th, where had you come from when you arrived at the KPD?
From planning Destiny's funeral.
Still nothing, huh? Use the restroom.
While you were at the hospital, you've heard the testimony of Miss Sands and Detective Wardlaw. Were you trying to give your phone away?
Yes,
Why?
because it had text messages of me selling drugs.
Did you think they were going to arrest you for that?
Yes.
And it also had the text on there about the gun, about asking somebody to go get the gun. Is that
Yes.
right? Why were you concerned about getting that gun away from the house?
Because I knew that that was the gun that Gavin used to shoot Destiny, and I was trying to protect him.
And you heard a lot about the fact that you changed your story.
Yes.
You went from the unknown male to Antoine did it.
Yes.
Again, did you tell them Antoine did it in that interview?
No.
Who brought Antoine up?
The detectives.
And how were you feeling about Antoine at that moment?
Not good. I feel like he tortured me.
But still, when they asked you, do you think Antoine would do it the first time, what did you tell them?
No, I knew he didn't do it.
So were you trying to throw Antoine under the bus?
No.
When you told them he didn't do it, did they stop talking about Antoine doing it?
No, sir.
What happened when you finally said, you're right, I can't take it anymore? What happened?
They became positive and stopped screaming at me.
When you told them you had PTSD, did anybody ask you anything about what that was or how you got it or if you were in treatment or anything?
No, sir.
And that was diagnosed and you got medication prescribed after the rape.
Yes, at Helen Ross McNair.
Now, the state gets up and shows you a judgment saying that that man pled guilty to making false reports to the TBI. What did he do to you?
He raped me.
And eventually, in your discussions with the police, you told them that Gavin did it.
Yes.
And do you recall what they said would happen if you kept saying Gavin did it? What that would subject Gavin to?
Not right off, no.
You remember the term forensic interview?
Yes.
Did they say that once or more than once? I'm asking her if she remembers the term, Judge.
Leading, Mr. Palin, don't lead.
Did you know anything about what a forensic interview was?
No, sir.
Have you seen that video we sat in court and watched?
Yes, sir.
Over the period of time from the shot being fired on the 14th of September to your last interview with them on the 17th of September, what was your goal in talking to the police?
To protect Gavin.
Did it ever occur to you that as a result of that, you would be sitting here in a courtroom being tried for first-degree murder?
No.
Objection, Your Honor. Not being charged for.
She said what her goal was. You can cross-examine it.
Why didn't you think you'd be sitting here in trial?
Because I didn't have anything to do with the shooting of my daughter.
Did you shoot Destiny?
No.
Did you shoot that gun?
No.
Did you intend for that gun to be in a place where your kids could get to it?
No.
Thank you, Ms. Howington. The state's probably going to have some questions for you.
Yes, sir.
Kill me. Okay, sorry. Now the cross-examination, which I'm surprised I haven't started the sentencing yet. It's been over an hour now. Writing out.
Ms. Howington, so we're gonna get into the story that you've told for the first time today here.
Let's go, baby.
But before we get into that, I want to
turn it
back
up.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to take you back to the very first story that you told to the 911 caller. When you called 911, we'll talk about that.
Yes, ma'am.
You initially said that it was an unknown black male.
Oh, no.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You said that that black male had essentially broken into your home, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that that black male who you'd never seen a day before in your life shot your daughter in cold blood right in front of you. Is that correct?
Yes.
You said that Gavin was in the room. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said that when this unknown black male who drove a black, what you believe to be Chrysler 300, you recall telling me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You said that he looked at you and his eyes got really big and that he just ran out. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that was your initial story to 911 when you first called, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about the 911 call. You just testified that you are walking up into your house and you see the gun go off when Gavin shoots Destiny. Is that what you just testified to?
Yes.
And you've seen the video, the surveillance video from your neighbor's house.
Yes.
Have you not? You've seen that you enter your home at 8:50.
Correct.
Correct? And now you know that the 911 call was not placed until over 3 minutes later at 8:53:53. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you go back in your home after seeing your daughter get shot by your 2-year-old son, according to you today, and you wait almost 4 minutes to call 911. Is that your testimony?
I had to find my phone. It had fell in between the cushions in the other living room.
Okay. So you see Gavin get shot, you call 911 4 minutes later. But again, you don't tell any of this to the police initially, do you?
No, ma'am.
You blame it on some stranger that you've never seen before in your life that came in and shot your 5-year-old in cold blood. That was your story initially.
An unidentified person, yes. To protect my
Unidentified
son.
black male is what you said. Is it
There you go.
not?
Get it right.
Let's go through.
Yes, ma'am.
In a black
We gotta blame the
Chrysler
black
300,
person,
you
yeah.
were pretty specific about that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You said that he wasn't wearing a hat.
Was convicted in docket number 117659.
Oh, they're back? Is that
Count
them?
one of the lesser
Oh, here we go.
included offense.
Woo!
Reckless
There she looking
homicide.
rough.
It's a Class D felony.
She's back. We're back. Here we go.
She's a range 1 offender.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because I did file a sentencing memorandum, which I argued.
Mama.
I
Mama's
understand.
love.
I mean, she doesn't have any range enhancement convictions.
Mike, I didn't get a copy of that.
Mama. If anybody's never seen that movie Ma, it's wild. Watch that movie Ma. That's where that reference comes from.
Copy from the court's file.
The movie Ma,
I think
2019.
it was filed yesterday.
I have my copy. I've already read it.
Ah.
All right, we're ready to get started, Ms. Howington. Bring out Ms. Howington. In counts 2 and 3, she was charged and convicted of aggravated child neglect. Let me see her file, please. A felony. Which count was the serious bodily injury count? Which count was the weapon count?
I believe 2 was the serious bodily injury, 3 was the weapon.
Yeah. Woo. Wee.
All right, so she's 15 to 25 on each of those unless the court were to find she was an especially mitigated offender. Where are the other notations?
So, I believe they said the minimum sentence. Let me try to find this out for sure. I thought they said minimum she gets 15 years.
In count 5, tampering with evidence, a C felony, 3 to 6.
Oh.
Count 6, attempted tampering with evidence, D felony. Thank you. D felony, 2 to 4. Was there not a false report conviction as well? Yes, count 4 is false report. D felony, 2 to 4. All right. Does either side have, other than victim impact, additional testimony that the state or Ms. Howington wishes for the court to consider before the imposition of judgment in this case?
Your Honor, no testimony from the state. I would like to introduce the PSI as Exhibit 1.
All right, mark the pre-sentence investigation report as Exhibit 1.
And then, Your Honor, Antoine Oliver has provided me with a few pictures of the victim that he would just also like the court to see before she died.
I mark those collectively as Exhibit 2. Mr. Whalen, any exhibits?
No, Your Honor.
All right, let me hear the state's position. Let's start first with enhancement factors the state believes are applicable to each of the various counts of conviction.
Yes, Your Honor. So the first one that we would ask the court to consider is that the defendant has a history of criminal convictions or criminal behavior. As noted,
You're urging that that applies to each of the 6 counts. Counts 2 and 3 merge. Which count is, I'm assuming the state is asking count 2 to be the one that stands, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So, previous history of criminal convictions or behavior.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, what's the next one?
That the victim of the offense was particularly vulnerable because of age. I think that that probably only applies to count 1, being the reckless homicide.
What is the statutory subpart number for that?
That is 4.
Okay.
And then 6, that the personal injuries inflicted upon the victim were particularly great. I believe that that would only apply to count 3. That would be the use of the deadly weapon.
Okay.
Factor 8, that the defendant before trial or sentencing failed to comply with the conditions of a sentence involving release into the community. And then 9, the defendant possessed or employed a firearm or other deadly weapon during the commission of the offense. That would only apply to 1, 2, and 5 also, because that was the tampering that involved the weapon, but especially to 1 and 2. It wouldn't apply to 3 with the deadly weapon.
So which tampering count was the weapon?
That was count 5, that she was actually... That was the full tampering, and then count 6 was the attempted tampering of the phone.
Okay.
And then finally, factor 10, that the defendant had no hesitation to committing a crime where the risk of human life was high.
So could you clarify? I think the court said it was counts 2 and 3 merged. So we're now talking about applying.
I have to enter separate judgments of conviction on each, but by operation of law, those judgments will merge. But they can argue the enhancement factors that they believe are applicable as to each count.
Was it 3 that were merging into 2? Was that
3 will merge into 2. All right, General, do you wish to be heard on any of the enhancement factors? Do you have any argument?
Yes, Your Honor. I did file a sentencing memorandum, so I won't go through them as extensively as I did in the sentencing memorandum. But just as it relates to that first factor, the previous history of criminal convictions or behavior, the defendant does have a couple of prior misdemeanor convictions, it looks like, for failure to appear, driving on revoked, and a DUI. But really what I believe is most applicable here is the criminal behavior. We heard during the trial that the defendant was engaged in drug transactions prior to this, prior to the shooting of her daughter. She was selling pills to people. Mr. King testified about that. He further testified that he actually met the defendant because she was selling pills to another individual that he knew. She, in her own interview, admitted to selling drugs. That was apparently her. That is why she claims she tried to destroy her phone, is because there were evidence of drug transactions within her phone. But not only that, Your Honor, I want the court to take notice of all of the other things that she did in this case in particular that she wasn't charged with, okay? And so specifically, again, if we're believing Ms. Howington's story that it was her 2-year-old that got the gun and shot the 5-year-old, having the gun where the 2-year-old could possess it in and of itself is
Right.
neglectful. Obviously,
Right.
she wasn't charged with that, but I do believe that it's something that the court can consider. Additionally, I think that it's very relevant that in this case, this defendant tried to literally frame the victim's
2-year-old.
father for first-degree
Oh, the father,
murder.
yeah.
She went so far as to actually pick him out of a police photo lineup. That's how far she took it. I mean, by my count, she easily could have been charged with probably 10 or more reports of false reporting because she gave a different statement almost every time she opened her mouth. And so we would just ask the court to take notice of not only the criminal convictions that she has, but even the criminal behavior in this case alone that she wasn't charged with is very significant. As it relates to factor 4, that the victim was particularly vulnerable because of age. Again, I believe that this applies to the homicide count. Here, the victim was 5 years old. Obviously, she was very vulnerable. She was very young. I mean, we heard the testimony. She was sitting on her couch watching cartoons when she was shot and killed. She actually had the remote in her hand. The bullet passed through her hand, passed through the remote, and went into her chest. And so we would ask the court to apply that particular enhancement factor to that count. The personal injuries inflicted upon the victim were particularly great. Again,
emotional, I guess.
this would only apply to count 3, the use of a deadly weapon. Obviously, we know that they were great. She lost her life. The defendant before trial or sentencing failed to comply with the conditions of a sentence involving release into the community. The defendant was on bond for several years in this case. The pre-sentence investigation reports that are part of the court's records indicate that she failed multiple drug screens up until, I believe, the middle of 2022. So almost 2 years that she was on pretrial, she kept failing drug screens for marijuana. In the pre-sentence investigation report, she admits that she kept smoking marijuana until 2022, which would be a violation of her pretrial release. Possessed or employed a firearm. Again, I know that her story was that the 2-year-old possessed the firearm, but at the end of the day, this was her gun. She admitted to that. If it is true that she just left it around the house, it's still her responsibility. Also, it applies, I believe, to the tampering count, where it specifically involves her trying to conceal this gun in the bush outside the home after her daughter was shot. And then finally, as to the last one, again, that the defendant had no hesitation about committing a crime where the risk of human life was high.
How do I apply that in this case?
So I believe that that would go to the child neglect in this case. I mean, she had no hesitation whatsoever. She knew she had a gun in her house. She claims that she knew that somebody else had apparently put it back in her house. She didn't try and check to see where it was. She didn't try to make sure that it was safe. She didn't attempt to make sure that her children couldn't gain access to it. She did absolutely nothing as it relates specifically to the neglect, knowing that...
Not subsumed by the elements of the offense on the neglect?
Well, I don't know that it's fully subsumed within them. I guess it could be potentially in the deadly weapon. I'm not sure that. I mean, serious bodily injury doesn't mean that somebody's going to die. So I don't know that it's all the way consumed within the serious bodily injury count. But again, like I said, this was her gun. She apparently didn't know where it was for days, but a 2-year-old finds it in about 4 minutes. So we would ask the court to apply that factor as well. Do you want me to, are you just focusing on the enhancement factors for now?
I'm just focusing on the enhancement factors. Mr. Whalen, address the enhancement factors as urged by the state, whether you agree with them or object to them. Once you have concluded doing that, address whatever mitigating factors you believe are applicable under TCA 40-35-113.
Yes, sir. As to the history of convictions or behavior, there is the most minimum of misdemeanor history in this case. And on top of that, it was this failure to appear in Sullivan County where she was sentenced to do community service and gets raped by the officer who's managing the community service program 18 months before this incident, which, as I will argue later, contributed to the PTSD that she was suffering at the time this happened. And the abuse of Mr. Oliver, who apparently is not going to be standing here today saying anything either.
Your Honor, he is going to give victim impact statement. He's asked the state to read it, just to let the court know.
He has the right under the statute to give a victim impact statement.
I understand that. he will not be giving the victim impact statement. He'll have them read it. He didn't testify at trial, though some of what he said was used. So
focus on the enhancement and the mitigating factors.
that is one of what we'll also be arguing as mitigation. The state wants to talk about uncharged drug transactions. The court might recall Ms. Howington's interrogation and how many times Riddle told her, "We ain't the drug police. We don't care about drug cases. This ain't about drugs. This is about a 5-year-old child who's dead." Then we introduce it at trial. Now we argue it at sentencing, even though she wasn't charged. So I would suggest that none of that should apply, Judge. Rumors of conduct should not be used for sentencing purposes in a case like this or any other case. That there are constitutional guidelines for a reason in the plea agreement form, which is produced by the court, and in those cubby holes over there, it talks about, you understand that if you enter this plea, these charges could be used if you are convicted of something in the future. The idea of vulnerability of the child, that is one of the elements in the child neglect. So
I think they're only urging that as to count 1, the reckless homicide.
And I don't know how you use that in what the jury had an opportunity to convict her of, felony first-degree murder. Did not, and found reckless homicide. And so a reckless act is not something that should be considered when we talk about the age of the victim. What they said was, that the state said, no one's going to tell you that she intended to do this.
Well, what the case law says interpreting that particular factor is that there has to be the vulnerability of the victim has to be in some way causally connected. In other words, it was easier for the defendant to commit the crime because of the particular vulnerability of the victim, be it age or some form of infirmity.
And I would suggest that either under a negligence theory or reckless she was convicted of, there's nothing that would suggest this crime was committed in order to take advantage of the young age of the individual. So I don't think that applies, Judge. And again, injuries inflicted upon the victim were particularly great. Again, she was charged with felony first-degree murder, was not convicted of that. And so we're back to the reckless homicide and...
Well, death's an element of reckless homicide.
Right. And so
I think the argument is that the injuries as to count 2, the aggravated child neglect count, that the statute requires that they prove serious bodily injury. In this instance, it went beyond that. It was death.
Well, and what we have is a case in which count 1 was homicide, a felony murder in perpetration of aggravated child neglect. So when the jury finds finds her not guilty of that charge, finds her guilty of reckless homicide and aggravated child neglect, it puts you in a different situation, because technically that's the definition of felony murder. So we're saying, okay, there was a reckless homicide and the underlying felony of the felony murder. And so I don't know how you separate those now at this point for sentence enhancement. And again, I think more so, not all cases are the same. This is a case where they're saying and said to the jury, we're not telling you she intended any of this to happen. And then again, almost like with the age of the victim, if she didn't intend any of it to happen, then how do we hold her responsible anymore for particularly great injury that she didn't intend to happen than we did for age? This was a horrendous family tragedy, which has not been made any better for anybody because of this trial and its conclusion. It's still a tragedy. And it's as much a tragedy for Ms. Howington as it is for anybody else.
Unfortunately, Mr. Whalen, most of what this court deals with on a daily basis is tragedies.
I don't disagree, Judge, but we rarely see them at this level. I mean, in this circumstance. I don't know how pretrial release got to be a sentence of release to the community.
I'm not very concerned about that.
But I have to say, because the state has brought it out, if you look at the entire report, which is attached, I believe, to their memorandum, shows that she had 3 April, May, and June dirty drug screens, which for a regular user of marijuana would not necessarily be unaccounted. You would almost expect that to be true for 90 days. After that, she'd been clean every time they tested her. She did everything pretrial asked her to do, made every appointment, kept up with payments, kept up with payments for GPS. I would suggest she was very successful in that particular endeavor. So for those reasons, we don't believe that any of the enhancements should apply in this case.
What mitigating factors under the statute do you urge?
I would, number 3, that substantial grounds exist tending to excuse or justify the defendant's criminal conduct, though failing to establish a defense. And again, Ms. Howington, at this point, no one can deny that she was diagnosed and treated for PTSD based on the rape at the hands of a police officer in Sullivan County and the physical abuse and mental abuse and emotional abuse of Mr. Oliver, including 3 days before this event when he shows up and then wants to talk about how he's the victim of that. But she had to get a gun to say, "Get off my property." He wouldn't go away. He's upset because she got her boyfriend there. So there's that. Then we have that she comes home after taking the kids across town to their favorite park, comes home in the dark, is at the house, a shot rings out, which, as you recall, during voir dire, we talked to lots of potential jurors who had people with PTSD in their life, who said that shot going off would be a trigger. Then saying that it's your daughter has been killed and your son has pulled the trigger. All those things contribute to the mental state she is in when she is then taken to the hospital, not allowed to go with her daughter, but taken to the hospital, told her daughter is dead, and within an hour is in the interview room with Mr. Riddle. And when she tells them she's nervous because she was raped by a cop, he loses his mind and yells and screams at her and questions her humanity. At that point, that interview was over. She is fully triggered at this point, and by an officer who's sitting there talking to the woman whose child is dead and yelling and screaming at her over and over again. And the state then stands up again and says, well, you should consider as an enhancement factor uncharged conduct in that she tried to frame Antoine Oliver. The testimony is crystal clear. I asked them, who raised Antoine Oliver as a suspect first? They did. Then you asked her, do you believe he would do that? And she said, no, I guarantee you he didn't do it. And then they stayed on it until she says, I can't take it. You're right. I can't take it anymore. You're right. She did not try to frame Antoine Oliver. They did. And then you have the nerve to come in here and tell the jury different and then stand up at sentencing and say different. That is not true. It has never been true. She agreed with them after denying it and telling them she guaranteed him he did not do it. A woman who, in her mental condition, is in the interview room from about 11 p.m. until 4 a.m. with them. She did not get the 48 to 72 hours a police officer would have gotten to be able to get their thoughts together. She went from the hospital being told your daughter's dead to being interviewed. Further, we would say that number 7 applies, that she was motivated by a desire to provide necessity for her family or herself. And what she said from the beginning was that she puts that gun outside, and within minutes after all that is texting her friend to go pick up the gun, that Gavin killed Destiny. So she's telling that story from the beginning. She explains to them why, when she tells them that story, that she didn't tell them in the beginning say that to the police was because she didn't want Gavin to live with the fact that he had accidentally killed his sister. There's been no proof that that's not true, that that wasn't her motivation. And she was telling people she told Mr. Key from the beginning. And Mr. Key, again, has raised, I should have raised that on the enhancements, that he said he met her through somebody else who Miss Howington sold pills to. Your Honor may recall that the Friday before that trial, he testified he knew her, he was introduced to her to do odd jobs around the house. And he did odd jobs around the house. And he got some pills. And then he comes to trial, so she says, how do you know him? Oh, as a drug dealer. That's not what he testified to at that hearing the Friday before the trial. That was not the first thought of Miss Howington. It was about that she paid him to do odd jobs around the house. But that part of the story that she was trying to protect Gavin was consistent if it wasn't the first statement she gave them, because she was still trying to protect Gavin at that point. She gives them the statement that an unknown black man fired a shot from the door. Clearly, she did not do that for racial reasons. Both of the fathers of both of her children, of those young children, are black men. She didn't have anything against black men. She's just trying to protect Gavin and keep them off of Gavin. Is that necessarily a rational concern? It might be if you got PTSD and you've just been through what she's been through. It would tend to make you irrational. The third mitigator we would submit is number 8, that she was suffering from a mental or physical condition that significantly reduced her culpability for the offense. And that, again, is just the same thing that I've argued before, is on the PTSD and what's happened that night in her home, and then being taken to the police department and abused by Detective Riddle in a way I've never seen happen before in any interview.
Interrogation out
to that level.
Have we watched Interrogation?
I
think we have.
The last mitigator is that number 11.
Interrogation we did watch.
Although guilty of the crime, she committed the offense under such unusual circumstances that it's unlikely that a sustained intent to violate the law motivated the conduct. Unfortunately, when we look at what the medical examiner said, once that shot was fired, within 90 seconds at the most, that child, Destiny, was dead. The responding officer said, he tried to save her life, but by the time he got there, Destiny would have been dead. And he finally admitted that, yes, clinically, she was deceased. Clinically and in every other way by that moment. So it's a horrible thing, but for him, he did the best he could under the circumstances. So we would suggest, Judge, that there was, again, because of the way it's charged, even as a negligent act, it is hard to understand how you could negligently intend to violate the law in this matter, or that intent motivated the criminal conduct. It was this idea that she had a gun in the house and didn't know where it was. Had it not been for Mr. Oliver coming over and being upset that a boyfriend was there and taking the gun away from her, throwing it on the ground, and he testified, Callie picked it up, put it back together. She testified, Callie said, what do I do with this? She said, put it away. When they asked her in the police department, where do you keep your gun? She told them where she kept her gun. She wasn't thinking, she hadn't had that 48 to 72 hours, that she didn't know where Callie put the gun. It was just a horrible circumstance on that particular day that led that gun to be where Gavin could find it. So we would say that if the court finds that she has no prior felony convictions, and I think that's clear, and that if the court finds that there are no enhancement factors and finds that there is a mitigating factor, then we would ask the court to sentence her as a specially mitigated offender. It would reduce the sentence on that charge to 13.5, I think, and the lesser rate means nothing, but it's a constricted sentence under the statute that's still 85%. So that's what we would be asking the court to do.
All right, the state has in their sentencing memorandum urged that under TCA 4035-115 that consecutive sentencing should be considered by the court. As each of you are familiar and well versed in, that in this state, in order for this court to impose a consecutive sentence unless otherwise provided by law, that she has to meet one of the criteria within that statute. Which do you say are applicable?
So, Your Honor, if you don't mind, just because I did not get a chance to respond to Mr. Whalen's.
You don't need to. Let's go to consecutive sentencing.
Okay. The ones that we specifically say are, one, that the defendant is a professional criminal who has knowingly devoted life to criminal acts as a major source of livelihood, and 4, that the defendant is a dangerous offender whose behavior indicates little or no regard for human life and no hesitation about committing a crime. Oh, I'm sorry. I said 1. I meant to say 2 and 4. Okay. Yeah. I apologize, Your Honor. I meant to say 2 and 4, not 1 and 4. So 2 being that the defendant is an offender whose record of criminal activity is extensive, and 4 being that the defendant is a dangerous offender whose behavior indicates little or no regard for human life and no hesitation about committing a crime when the risk to human life is high. And so, Your Honor, I do just want to kind of touch on a few things that Mr. Whalen just said. First of all, when we're talking about Miss Howington and all these problems that she is suffering, the only evidence that was introduced regarding her PTSD or anything else like that came straight from her mouth. We did not.
That's misstating the record. They went through her purse and asked her about every medication she was on, and it was all PTSD, psych meds.
Newsflash to both of you. I tried the case, and I'm very familiar with what the facts are. You don't need to address the enhancement factors. Make your argument on consecutive sentencing.
When we look at number 2, that the defendant is an offender whose record of criminal activity is extensive, there's case law that makes it very clear that that does not necessarily mean a defendant who has multiple prior convictions. The court can look to the criminal conduct in the case at hand when determining whether or not a defendant is someone who has a record or an extensive record of criminal activity. Again, Your Honor, when we look at this case, the defense wants to keep arguing this is a tragedy, this is an accident, all these things. I don't dispute the fact this is 100% a tragedy. The problem is the tragedy was caused by the defendant and no one else. They want to point the blame at the child's father, who was nowhere near when the shooting occurred. They want to point the blame at saying that she was raped, by the way, which, again, I'm not saying that she wasn't. I'm not saying that she's a victim. What I'm saying is that in that particular case, Your Honor, the person who she said raped her was convicted of false reports. That is all we know. And certainly,
I wonder, did he actually do that?
Mr. Whalen would not allow the state to get up here and call somebody who was convicted of false reports a rapist. So that's all I'll say about that. She, again, every single thing that happened in this case was her fault and her fault alone. Not only did she, according to her own statement, leave a loaded and cocked firearm within reach of a 2-year-old for days. That was her testimony. Her testimony was that this happened days before, that Callie supposedly went inside, put it away. She never checked where he put it. She never did anything. But then a 2-year-old, again, according to her statement, a 2-year-old has the ability to find it within about 3 minutes. He was pretty small. The court saw pictures, measurements of him. He didn't take stools around everywhere and climb up like she initially claimed. That was not the case. This thing was sitting out where it was easily accessible to him. This tragedy was 100% preventable. And the person that should have and could have prevented it is the defendant. She's not the victim here. The victim is the 5-year-old child that died, okay? So not only do we have the issue of this defendant being just careless and negligent as far as it goes with the gun. It's her actions after her daughter is shot that we urge the court to consider.
All right, thank you.
And also, well, I guess that kind of goes in with the behavior indicates little or no regard for human life. A lot of that does. There are just a couple of other things that I do want to bring to the court's attention. Sorry. Again, we talk about the detectives beating up on her and everything like that. Your Honor, we all saw the video. The detectives absolutely did say they suggested Antoine first, okay? No doubt about that. The fact of the matter is, she knew good and well that Antoine had nothing to do with it. She could have persisted in saying no. That's all she had to do. She didn't have to continue to make up story after story after story. She didn't have to pick him out of a lineup. Mr. Oliver could not go to his own daughter's funeral because she had literally framed him for murder. When she took that stand, and I asked her that, her words verbatim were, Antoine didn't matter. That's what she said. Those were her words. I didn't put those words in her mouth. The detectives didn't put the words in her mouth. Those were her words on the stand. She did not care about him whatsoever. She didn't care. She didn't care about anybody in this case but herself. This was not about protecting 2-year-old Gavin. All of her lies were not about protecting Gavin. If she wanted to protect her son, she should have done that before he got a hold of her gun. So for all those reasons, Your Honor, in this case, we are asking the court to not only give the maximum sentences, but we are asking the court to order consecutive sentences based on those factors.
All right, let me hear from, is Mr. Oliver going to be the only victim impact statement?
Yes.
Let me hear that.
I do have some argument on consecutive.
Folks, the case law on this is very clear. I can do this for show, but I don't operate that way. It would never stand up on appeal in this court's humble judgment to sentence her consecutively. Let me hear from Mr. Oliver.
So Your Honor, he does have a victim impact statement that I'm going to read.
You're going to read it?
I'm going to read it on his
Okay.
Your Honor, I have a lot to say. I beg the court in diligence while I speak my piece because I've found over the years I'm not always afforded an opportunity to say stuff, and I must speak the truth. So this time, if for no other reason than that, this court is going to hear the truth. I can't speak for anybody else, but I can tell you if nobody else says it, I'm going to speak the truth, and this is it. Who knew that on September the 12th of 2019, that would be the last time that I got to see and spend time with my beautiful daughter, Destiny Jariah Oliver. She was absolutely the true definition of a daddy's girl. All Destiny ever wanted was to be with her daddy. Robin was jealous of our relationship, and she couldn't stand it. Destiny was the best daughter that any father could have asked for. I was so excited to surprise my daughter and to have the opportunity to pick her up from school that Thursday. Her face always lit up when I arrived to get her, and that day was no different. I always made plans of doing a lot of fun activities with her after school when I was able to get her. That day was different, though. It was very special. First, we went and got food from her favorite place, Chick-fil-A. Next, we continued our journey to National Fitness Center off Walbrook Drive in Knoxville. She went swimming, and she also did rock climbing that day. After a few hours, we left there and went to Brewster's to get ice cream. We ordered our ice cream and sat on the bench and enjoyed it together. As we sat there, I looked at my baby girl. I knew something wasn't right, but I couldn't put my finger on it. We talked about what she wanted to be for Halloween and what she wanted for her 6th birthday that was coming up that was less than 4 weeks away. But that moment was extra special as I stared into my daughter's eyes, not knowing that it would be the last time of having her in my possession. My last time being able to do anything with my precious daughter. We left West Knoxville and headed back over towards Fountain City so that I could take her home. As I got closer to Broadway, Robin called and asked if I could go to Party City to get a costume for Destiny for school. We had a few words. At that point, I knew that she was trying to cause problems. I hung up on her and went to Party City and let Destiny pick out her costume for school. Shortly after that, we arrived at her house. I got Destiny out of my vehicle, and as I approached the door of the house, Robin came out of the house and instantly started attacking me. I tried to deflect the blows that she was throwing. Then her boyfriend came outside, and I asked him to get her, but he refused. He then closed the door so that the kids couldn't see what was going on. Robin and I had a few more words before she went back inside and came back out with a gun. I asked her, "What are you going to do with that?" And she said she was going to shoot me. I noticed that she really didn't know what she was doing, and the first chance that I got, I grabbed the gun and disarmed her. I took the clip and made sure that no round was in the chamber. I was going to throw the gun on the roof of the house so that she couldn't get to it, but ended up tossing the clip in one direction and the gun in the opposite direction so that they would be far apart from each other. Robin then ran back into the house to get something else. I didn't know what she was doing, so I got back in my vehicle. She came back out with her cell phone, threatening to call the police on me. She asked her boyfriend, did he find the firearm, and he said yes. She then proceeded to try to open the door of my vehicle, yelling and screaming at me. I rolled my window down and told her boyfriend that he needed to get away from her because she's trouble, and that he had no clue that she was a psychopath, and then I left. To this very day, I wish that I never had taken Destiny back over there that Thursday night.
Wow.
Robin then called me early Saturday morning as if nothing happened Thursday night. I did get to speak to my daughter on the phone, but it was not long at all. Robin took the phone from her and proceeded to talk as if nothing happened. I told her she was crazy, and then I hung up on her. I didn't speak to her anymore that Saturday. I didn't find out about Destiny's death until the next day, which was Sunday, and was told that she had passed away. The grandmother called and told me that Destiny was dead. I couldn't believe what I was being told. It was the worst day of my life. My family and I went straight to the Knoxville Police Department to find out what happened to Destiny. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't being lied to. I spoke with an officer. He asked me a few questions about my whereabouts Saturday night, and shortly after that, he said that I was the one who had killed my daughter, which was false. I wasn't even in the city when my daughter had died. I was told to come back the following day to speak with detectives. I came back in the next day, which was Monday, and I was interrogated for quite some time. The detectives wanted my cell phone so that they could search it and invade my privacy. I was humiliated, yelled at by these detectives, and then accused of killing my own daughter in cold blood. I couldn't believe what I was going through. Here I am, a grieving father that had just lost his daughter, and being blamed for killing her. I was threatened multiple times that if I didn't give them my cell phone, that they would hold me and lock me up. I ended up giving it to them, and still haven't received it back to this day. 2 days after the interrogation, they got a search warrant and kicked in my door and raided my residence. They told my landlord that I was wanted for murder and that I was never coming back because I was going down for killing Destiny. My landlord thought very highly of me until that day, and he wanted me out of the house immediately. Unfortunately, I wasn't there at the time of the raid, and that was the same time as my daughter's funeral. I wasn't able to attend the funeral because of this situation. They really ruined my entire life
horrible.
while I was still trying to process the death of my baby girl. I was unable to get all of my belongings from the house. Some items were stolen, some items were also left behind. I ended up spending a lot of unnecessary funds on attorney's fees because I was being accused when I was completely innocent and had nothing to do with any of it. Your Honor, this woman has caused my family, friends, and I so much pain and heartache. She has been a very violent individual. In the past, she tried to have my ex-girlfriend kidnapped and admitted that to me. My ex-girlfriend had to purchase a gun for protection because of Robin. Robin has vandalized multiple vehicles of mine. She has vandalized one of my other friends' vehicles that was parked outside of my place.
Ryan, this goes beyond the scope.
I can consider it only for the purposes of victim impact statement. It's not evidence that will be within the record.
I've lost thousands and thousands of dollars that I've invested over the years because of this lowlife. She has harassed me by following me and popping up at my house at all times and stalked me for years because I didn't want to be with her and she couldn't stand seeing me in a relationship with someone else. She broke into my house and stole a lot of valuable items previously. She has lied and made false reports numerous times. One time she even called the police and told them that I was kidnapping our daughter one night. She had the whole entire police department at my house for nothing.
Wow.
She's threatened to have my mother's brains blown out. She's also said that she knew people that didn't have a problem with killing a kid. She even called DCS on my son's mom for no reason, trying to get her children taken away from her. This woman should have been taken off the streets years ago and put away behind bars, but she lies and manipulates the system and always manages to slip away without getting in trouble. This woman is a real piece of work, as you can all see by now. This isn't even a fraction of all that she's put me through. Robin used my daughter to get at me any way that she could. Sometimes she would go weeks without letting me see and talk to
family,
Destiny.
maybe?
There were numerous times that Destiny cried and cried because she didn't want to go back home with her mother. As of October of 2017, Ms. Howington Robin had lost custody of both Destiny and Gavin. They awarded custody to Robin's mother. I knew nothing about this. No one contacted me about the situation at all. I never knew anything about these court dates. I didn't find this out until March of 2019. I went to pay child support and happened to ask for any and all documentation filed on Destiny because I was seeking custody of my daughter. They printed out numerous documents, and this is how all of this was revealed to me. After 2 years of me not knowing any of this, it was finally revealed because of my actions. I found out that Robin had a real bad drug habit, and she'd lost custody of Destiny because she kept failing drug screens while she was pregnant with Gavin. The court awarded the grandmother custody without my knowledge. Even when Destiny died, the grandmother was there supervising the kids was supposed to be there supervising the kids because she was appointed to do so. Robin wasn't allowed to have the children unsupervised. The grandmother violated a court order and failed us all, as well as the state, because they shouldn't have been awarded custody without each of the fathers being evaluated and looked at as having custody of their own children. If the state would have done their job correctly, my daughter would have been in better care and would still be alive today. Robin is negligent. She cared nothing about her children. She made up multiple lies years back and had me arrested. I had to enter a best interest plea just to keep from going to jail. I provided video evidence of her actions. She has been the aggressor this entire time, telling me that she's going to have me put in prison somehow, some way. Even in this case, she told law enforcement that I was the one that had killed my daughter. I am the victim here, and she needs to be put away forever. She lied historically and used the state of Tennessee as a weapon against me and everybody else, and attempted to do the same thing in this case. In the past, I've shown videos that I've taken surreptitiously to have to prove that this country isn't premised on proving our innocence. I've had to prove my innocence all because she is a woman, but in reality, she is a lowlife and cared nothing about Destiny or her other children. The only thing she cares about is herself. She lied repeatedly in this case. She's culpable in it. Robin is the reason that my daughter is dead. It is my desire to see her rot in prison. I want her to be there for the rest of her life if possible. If not, I beg the court to give her the maximum sentence possible. She deserves to die in prison. She is responsible for the death of one of the weakest in society, a small innocent child who was defenseless and had no say in what her mother did and put her through. Yet she did it over and over, and the state turned a blind eye to it. She deserves to die in a prison cell somewhere. That's what I'm asking, to put her in prison for as long as you possibly can. She's a liar, she's a manipulator, she's responsible for the death of our daughter. Robin is a poor excuse for a human being. She again is responsible for the death of a child, someone who didn't have any say-so in what was going on. She manipulated the courts in this country and punked everyone here for years, making up lies about me. Again, I've had to enter a best interest plea, and my attorneys have had to show videos that I've taken to prove my innocence. I've had to prove my own innocence, and that's not how this country was founded. That's not what our Constitution is premised upon. But I've had to do that because she is a master liar and manipulator, and used this court and every court in this country to her benefit to get even with me and to accomplish her will, all because I didn't want to be with her. Even during the course of this case, she's lied through her teeth and said it was me that was responsible for this horrific tragedy. I ask this court to give her the maximum sentence possible. It is my desire to see her spend the rest of her life in a prison cell. Because of Robin, I have no daughter now. At a minimum, I desire for her to be put away forever. I'm asking for consecutive sentences, maximums on every charge ran consecutively so that she never comes out of prison. She is a poor excuse for a human being. That is what prisons are made for, is to keep people like her who victimize anybody that they can for their own benefit. I'm asking you to keep her in there forever. If you can give her a life sentence, Your Honor, that still wouldn't be enough. It's my desire to see her go away for the rest of her life. It's my desire to see her die in prison.
Oh, he did say. Oh, he kind of did it.
Wow. Sorry. You know what else she did? She blamed it on her 2-year-old son for the death of our daughter. She is a despicable human being. Not only did she victimize and cause the death of our daughter, she further victimized her own 2-year-old child by blaming him for his sister's death.
That's crazy.
Your Honor, I am begging you to give her the longest and maximum sentence that you possibly can string together.
All right, thank you. Ms. Howington, this is your opportunity to speak before the court makes certain findings and pronounces judgment. In this case, you're not required to, but this is your opportunity if you wish to. All right. The court is tasked pursuant to TCA 40-35-114 and TCA 40-35-113 to first find whether enhancement and mitigating factors which are confined to these two statutes are applicable. The state urges a number of different enhancement factors. There's a couple that I'm going to rely upon because I think they're just glaringly obvious in this case. And while I could find perhaps other enhancement factors, I don't think there's any point in muddying the record up on appeal with going into those, because there's no specific set of enhancement factors. There's no calculus or graph that the court has to follow as far as I can only go up so far if I find 1 versus finding 5. That's not what the law says. Ms. Howington, this is a strange case. This is one of the more unusual cases among the hundreds that I've tried as a lawyer or as a judge. But there are a couple of things in this case that are just glaringly obvious. I agree with what General Good just said a few minutes ago. You are not the victim in this case. You have a previous history of criminal convictions or criminal behavior. What you had before the night that this tragedy occurred was not very significant, although you were engaged in the trafficking of illicit narcotics, and the court can consider that. But I really don't know how you could have made this much worse than what you did that night. Within literally minutes of when your daughter had been shot and killed, you were attempting to hide the firearm that was used to kill her. You're not concerned, you weren't then, you're not now. You're not concerned with trying to protect Gavin. You're concerned with trying to protect Gavin's mother. And you have been, you were that night, and I will believe that from this point forward. I don't know how you could interpret this evidence any other way. You have a previous history of criminal conviction, criminal behavior. You tried to hide the gun that was used to kill your daughter while her body was still warm. When you were taken to UT Hospital to be checked for shock before you spoke with law enforcement, you attempted to solicit another person to take your cell phone so that it couldn't be looked at, and then you tried to destroy the cell phone. Within seconds, if not minutes, of when your daughter was shot and killed, you're calling 911 and making up a story about how it all happened. And repetitively, I quit counting at about 20, repetitively throughout hours worth of police interviews, not just that night, but on other occasions as well, you made up story after story after story. And this court can consider every bit of that as criminal conduct. So you clearly have a previous history of criminal convictions or criminal behavior, which enhances your sentence in this case. As to count 2, the aggravated child neglect where there was serious bodily injury, count enhancement factor number 9 applies as well. A firearm and your handling of that firearm is the reason that your daughter is not here now. It's not because Antoine Oliver showed up 2 days earlier. It strains the bounds of credulity to believe that your boyfriend just laid that gun down where a small toddler could just walk in within 2 or 3 minutes after you and your children arrived home, found the gun, pointed it at your daughter, and pulled the trigger when that gun had been in that same place for 24 to 36 hours and nobody saw it. I will never believe that. And I don't think you were honest with the jury about how that happened. But the simple fact remains that however he found it, you were responsible for that gun. What I believe happened, if in fact it was your child that had the gun, when the bullet was fired that killed your daughter, there was a man that came in. And I don't know if it really was somebody to collect window tint payments like you testified to, or if it was a pill deal, but somebody came in. It was a strange man in your house, and I believe you had that gun out for protection. I believe you had a round chambered and the safety off, and that gun was left there, and when you stepped out to smoke, the tragedy occurred. But that's on you and nobody else. So I place great significance on the 2 enhancement factors that I found. Your history as well as the firearm use in this case. As stated previously, the mitigating factors, this was an unusual case. There are unusual circumstances, but I don't place much weight on that as far as mitigating your punishment. So if you would, please, ma'am, stand up.
Oh, shoot. Stand up for the... Thank you.
Ms. Howington, in docket number 117659, based upon the jury's verdict of guilt, finding you guilty in count 1 of the lesser included offense of reckless homicide, you were found guilty of that offense and sentenced to a term of 3 years to serve within the Tennessee Department of Correction as a range 1 offender. In count 2, based upon the jury's verdict of guilt, finding you guilty of aggravated child neglect, you were found guilty of that offense and sentenced to a term of 22 years to serve within the Tennessee Department of Correction as a range 1 offender. In count 4, based upon the jury's verdict of guilt, finding you guilty of false report, a Class D felony, you were found guilty of that offense and sentenced to a term of 3 years to serve within the Tennessee Department of Correction as a range 1 offender. Now. In count 5, based upon the jury's verdict of guilt, finding you guilty of tampering with evidence, a Class C felony, you were found guilty of that offense and sentenced to a term of 5 years to serve within the Tennessee Department of Correction as a range 1 offender. Finally, in count 6, based upon the jury's verdict of guilt finding you guilty of attempted tampering with evidence, a Class D felony, you were sentenced to a term of 3 years to serve within the Tennessee Department of Correction as a Range 1 offender. These sentences will be served concurrently, one with the other, for a total aggregate sentence of 22 years to serve within the Tennessee Department of Correction. And as your attorney has pointed out, the service rate is at 85%. I wish we weren't here. I know
it's concurrent.
You wish you weren't here. Mr. Oliver wishes we weren't here. But you're the one responsible.
She really got.
Judgment of the court. Good luck to you.
She really got.
This for motion for trial.
She got 33 years then, I guess. 33.
I suspect that's going to take.
That's going to take a while. She's really backed up. I mean, why don't we set this out about 5 to 6 months just for status on, see where the transcript is, and then we'll
36.
Set another date.
I thought it was 33 plus 3. That came out to 36. Then I think it's 33.
What's the first Friday in September?
The 6th.
What about Friday, September the 6th?
85%. 22 years, 85%. She gets 22 after the community. Serve concurrent, she gets 22.
Is that a good date?
Yes.
All right,
How old is
9-6 for status, and then we'll be sure and get your motion for new trial filed within the next 30 days, Mr. Whalen.
Thank you.
The judge don't play. He was like, done. Stand up. I was like, damn, he was just gone. Boom. They didn't have her. That was really jacked up with the father, what she, allegedly did. And this guy was even locked up because of the false claim and missed his daughter's funeral. WFLA.
HD is above Pasco County. Pasco County is the county north of Tampa, Florida, on the Gulf Coast side, the west side
Tampa,
of the Florida peninsula.
Searching for a suspect
outside the coverage area. This is a failed traffic stop of a burglary suspect that led to a pursuit northbound into Pasco County. It started in Hillsborough County. That's where Tampa is. When a deputy attempted to pull over a Ford F-250 for again the accusation that the driver is suspected of burglary. They also said that there was a traffic infraction that the driver was being pulled over for as well. And as they attempted the traffic stop, the release states that the driver of the Ford F-250 attempted to ram the deputy's vehicle. That was an unsuccessful attempt, and the deputy was able to swerve their vehicle out of the way, but that began a pursuit that went north away from Tampa, up I-75, which is
and get into a car crash, working closely with the Florida Highway Patrol, not only on the sea, but on
the suspect is said to have gotten off somewhere in the area of State Road 54, traveled west, and then ditched their vehicle here in this wooded area, not too far away, a few miles away from one of the main shopping hubs in the Tampa Bay region.
Says she's in Tampa. Keep your doors closed.
Which is located between this area and I-75. So this is not too far away from a major hub for shopping in our region. And the suspect fled on foot out of that Ford F-250, and now deputies are in the woods trying to search for that suspect. The suspect is being pursued on ground with deputies and other law enforcement agencies. Canines are said to be involved as well, and they're also searching in the air. They have a law enforcement helicopter in the air, a drone or two, I think, in the air as well, and that pursuit is ongoing at this time. We're keeping our eyes peeled. If Eagle 8 HD spots anything in the woods, they're able to radio into law enforcement and say, you might want to check this spot. But so far, haven't seen anything just yet. It's clearly a very dense wooded area of Pasco County. This is Land O'Lakes, really, the Land O'Lakes area, which is just north of Tampa, Florida. We'll go back full screen. I'm answering questions and doing my very best to fill people in on the story. You can use hashtag HJB in the Facebook Live or YouTube Live comment section, and I will do my very best to spotlight those comments. And the best if he can flee.
That's the vehicle earlier. That's what the vehicle looks like. So Yeah,
I should also point out as well, details as they develop will be on WFLA.com. We have our team, of course, working behind the scenes, working the phones. Any new information will be there. I'll get it from WFLA.com. You'll get new information from WFLA.com.
Okay. So interesting. This guy failed to stop. They chased him. He's potentially a robbery suspect, I think. And the guy ran off into the woods. Boy, dipped out. Gone. With the votes, 973 people voted. 14% said 15 years. 18% said 20 years. 28% said 25 years. And 40% said more. Let me show you this clip real quick. I saw this and I was like, what the hell? What in the Florida, man, is going on here?
I'm St. Lucie County Sheriff Keith Pearson. Earlier today, Elijah thought he's going to drive through St. Lucie County in a stolen vehicle and get into a car crash, working closely with the Florida Highway Patrol, not only on the sea, but on land. Elijah's now in custody. Our message is this to criminals.
Not in St. Lucie.
He said F you.
St. Lucie County Sheriff Keith Pearson. Earlier today, Elijah thought he's going to drive through St. Lucie County in a stolen vehicle and get into a car crash, working closely with the Florida Highway Patrol, not only on the sea.
Bro, that's crazy. They got him. They're doing a video for Facebook Reel, and the guy's right there in the backdrop. Wow. Amazing. Amazing.
On that suspect at this time, other than the fact that they're accused of burglary and a traffic infraction. Was there anybody else in the pickup? It's entirely possible. However, that was not stated in the release.
All right. Well, I don't want to use too much of their video. I know there's people.
Steve, want to know what the suspect is wearing? We have no description of the physical attributes of the suspect, nor do we have any description of what the suspect is wearing.
The BFLA had a lawsuit with a YouTuber. I don't know the in-depth details and all that stuff, but I think the YouTuber was kind of effing with them a little bit. I don't know the whole scenario though. I think they were using their videos, but like maybe being gone the whole time or something, and they told that person to take it down. They didn't want to do it, so I don't know, something like that. So I try not to use too much of their video. And right now, there's really not much anything
They
to see.
are keeping a very safe distance as to not, of course, harm anybody else on the road. The closer that they are, the more likely that the driver that is in.
Somebody said, where's Sheriff Judd, right? Yeah, Sheriff Judd probably pull up over there in person. Florida. Make sure you guys subscribe. If you're watching me right now on It Could Melt, please subscribe. If you're on Facebook, hit the follow button. We're at 94,000 on Facebook. Been taking forever to get to 100K. If you're on Facebook, hit the follow button. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to my page. Also, subscribe to It Could Melt CC. We got 20K yesterday. If you'd like, check out Data Seal. Okay, a service that I use to protect myself from the psychopaths online. Even though, data removal service, whatever you want to do, check it out. There's a free scan on the website. You just click it, put your name and I think your state, and it'll show you all the websites that you're on. So if you want to check that out, it's pretty cool. For now, what's planned for today? Nothing really planned. Everything's up in the air. Whatever happens. That's how I like it. I was supposed to go to the range this morning, actually. That was the plan until this came up, and I'm like, you know what? Let's come on and do this stream. But now I gotta go. I gotta go pick up my daughter. So I don't know if I'm still doing that today or maybe tomorrow morning. We'll get up early and go do it. The range. And then again, tomorrow night is the fight. Man, it's gonna be fun. Everybody's gonna be kicking back. It's a highly anticipated boxing match. So I'm excited about that. We're all gonna be hanging out. What else? That's all I can think of for now. Chases have been pretty slow. Standoffs have been kind of slow the last week or so. But it's Friday, so who knows? The freaks come out on Friday. It's super early, especially in Cali. It's a 3-hour difference. So this is really early. So much can happen today. Lord knows. Rocket Megan, love you too. Thank you. Bieber, how you doing? Is that what it was? Bieber said, yeah, they had every right to do it. She was just playing it with no commentary for days. That's what I heard. I don't think I'd have a problem with these people, but I tread lightly. You know, when I seen what they did to somebody. But I heard, I don't know if it's true, that the person supposedly would just like have the thing on like that for a long, I don't even know if they're really on the screen. I say nothing, just gone. So I just, just be careful a little bit.
Cuffs. It all depends, of course, on how successful deputies are in their ongoing search. We're going to stay in the air with Eagle as long as we have fuel. We'll do our very best to continue to can.
I like the mic you got. Everybody got this mic. I almost want to get a different mic just because everybody got this shit. I almost want to get a different one. You know, everybody got the same mic in the podcasting or whatever. I almost want to get some weird shit, just like these headphones. I just got it just because it's different. I want something like some other shit. I don't know, you know. Everybody and their mama got this mic. This is actually the enhanced version of it. This one actually has amps inside of it. This is the regular. I have two of them. Can I turn it? I have two. There's another one here. This is for my laptop. This is the original one. And then the company came out with a version that has amps inside because they wanted to make it simpler for people. So I just got this one just because. I guess. I don't know. I want some crazy shit. Something that just stands out. Like, wow, what is that? The Canadian lady. What boxing match? Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney. Oh, yeah, the pink headphones. Pink headphones here. These headphones, too. These are actually pretty good. These ones also. No, canceled what? The fight? Hell nah, that fight is on. All you have to do is, if you have Twitter, you go to Twitter and you type in Ryan Garcia and you'll see the shit show. It's been a shit show for like a whole month. He weighed in this morning. The fight? The fight is very much alive. The fight is on. I don't know. So he said time to weigh in. I think, I don't know too much about boxing, but I thought like these people, what they do is like they'll sweat a whole bunch before they weigh in to lose weight. I don't know if they do sauna or something. They like dehydrate, like all the fluids of the body are gone so they can weigh it, I think, as light as possible or something. I think that's why he looks like this, I guess. It was kind of funny though, because somebody tagged him and he was like, first thing I thought of. So I don't know, the fight is very, very much alive. Put on a furry that has that furry hat, Mel. The water weight, right? I think that's what they do. They try to lose the water weight. So I don't know how they do it, but that's why he looks like that.
And we've seen it in previous chases where sometimes a suspect is doing any left or right turn, anything that they could do to get away.
Oh, he came in at 143?
Themselves in an area where they're just forced.
So was that overweight? Was that past the weight he needed to be in? And didn't they have like some type of bet too for every pound, $500,000 or something like that? I thought they had some type of bet going on.
And really has knowledge of the area, knows that there's a wooded area here in Land O'Lakes, off of State Road 54, and made the conscious decision to pull off into this wooded area and get out of the vehicle and flee on foot because the odds, of course, of getting away in a wooded area clearly are going to be higher than if.
So Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney agreed to a $500,000 bet ahead of weigh-in for the WBC super lightweight title fight on Saturday. Before the opening bell, the two fighters will need to make the 140-pound limit on Friday, but Haney, who's defending the champion, has voiced concerns about Garcia's weight. So there's a $500,000 bet. I guess he lost the bet. Well, let me see. Ryan Garcia is coming at 143. Haney made the weight at 140. Interesting. So that means he's going to pay up?
Deputies are pursuing knows the area well. It's just how well do they know the region, and are they savvy enough to...
So that just because of the weight, it says Garcia cannot win the WB Superlight belt. Is that how it works?
These aren't stationed. I mean, that's really a big question.
8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow.
It's difficult to see through the air, to see through and past these trees. Getting through the tree line is difficult. There's power lines, and you can see, wow. So Joey Capistran and Eagle doing a great job of finding all of the deputies that are positioned around this area to
establish microphone
as good of a perimeter as possible. And this one underneath the power lines to make sure that they don't emerge here.
Let me change the title of this
Again,
video.
go back full screen. I'm monitoring comments. Facebook Live, YouTube Live with #KJB.
Yeah, so they're just looking for this guy right now. I changed the title of this video. The last time, 2 times I covered this video was demonetized. I don't know. I'm wondering if it's the title. We'll see. 3 pounds overweight. Damn. That's tough. I need to cut a lot of weight. I need like 20 pounds down. I'll be happy. Or 30 pounds. But I've been doing a lot better the last couple of days. I've been doing my little jogs, hitting the gym a little bit. I'm like easing myself into it, eating a bit better, so just easing myself. Because I know if I go too fast, I'll go right back to the slums. So,
and then of course you have Florida Highway Patrol likely involved in the pursuit as this, took place on the interstate.
8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, guys.
Involved as well. That's the state. You have state and 2 county law enforcement agencies represented here. There could be others. Not sure exactly how many officers specifically, but we know that those are the 3 primary law enforcement agencies involved at the moment. Steve, could they use a sheriff chopper to help with the search? Yeah, a sheriff's helicopter is in the air. And Joey, I don't know if you've seen the sheriff's chopper at all recently, but
that's true. Z Solo says, I don't know they're getting paid that much. They're getting paid like $30 million, so $500K is a drop in the bucket for them. It's probably just like for the fun of it, I guess. There's a sheriff chopper. That's pretty cool.
So Eagle will land. And at that point, our newsroom will make the determination if we are heading back here or if we're coming back to Tampa.
Maybe they're running out of gas, maybe. That's pretty cool, though. Dope. I mean...
So I believe that's a Pasco County Sheriff's Office vehicle.
Them boys running in the woods. I guess the at least one suspect running in the woods. Pretty wild. It's got to be hot as hell, humid. Especially when you got all those like trees and stuff like that. I feel like the breathing almost feels heavier. They're leaving now. The chopper probably got to refuel. A couple of times when I've been out in the woods, I've always felt like, especially in Florida, like the humidity, just like it's more intense when you're under all these trees and vegetation and all that stuff. I don't imagine the guy's probably like running his ass off when they catch him. Oh, the break damping being in the Olympics? I didn't know they were going to do that. I don't know. As long as it doesn't take away from the other sports, I guess it wouldn't. It'd be its own thing in the Olympics. I guess it's okay. I don't know. Breaking is urban dance style. Originated in the United States in the 1970s. The breakdancing competition at Paris 2024. That could be a lot of fun, especially like the younger demographics. They probably would be more into it. That maybe it would draw in some people that normally wouldn't be drawn in. So maybe it's not a bad idea for them to try to, bring people into the sport or the competition. I don't really see anything wrong with it. I guess I don't think there is. Se acabó. Oh, Amanda says I was homeless in Florida during the summer and it sucked. Oh, I can imagine. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. The Florida woods. All right. I guess I'll call it for now, man. I'll probably be back later if something pops off. Chase or anything crazy. You guys can hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Like I said, I'd appreciate that. Also, I have an Amazon page I'm working on. I'm just adding my favorite products that I use. I'm still working on it, but like stuff around the house, little knickknack stuff. Let me see here. I'll put the link in the chat. It's an affiliate link. If you're ever bored and want to check it out, I added some stuff on here. Listen, oh, mama, no. I did some stuff right. This is my favorite wallet. I still have that wallet. I don't think the red one's on Amazon that I saw, but I love this freaking wallet. Like all the personal stuff that I use, I added on there. I'm still working on it though. Stuff around the house, cleaning stuff, blah blah blah. Knock the F out. The amazing OxyClean. I use this. I live by this OxyClean for laundry. I love this magnesium. I take it all the time. Just my little favorite product stuff. The watch I have on right now. This little shaker. This thing is dope. I use it for all my pre-workouts or like if I need to mix something or even coffee, whatever. First aid kits I have in the closet. My little hurricane supply stuff. These earmuffs are freaking amazing. They're for shooting, but like what it does is you can still hear everything around you. It actually even enhances it. But when you shoot a gun, it doesn't go over a certain decibel, so it's the gunshot's not actually loud. So you can still, people can talk to you. I think you can even put music on there, but I just don't want to see myself listening to music while shooting. Why? I don't know. Some people do it, I guess. But I like that you can still hear your surroundings if somebody's talking to you or something's happening. You know, like you're completely aware of your surroundings. I think it's dope. Indoors and outdoors, I think it's really dope. So we have two of these. So yeah, that's there if you want to check it out. You saw the hiccup straw? I ordered the hiccup straw. I have it in my cabinet. I've never used it yet because I got over the hiccups. The best remedy for the hiccups for me was peanut butter. Peanut butter. Peanut butter. Believe it or not. I got to add some of my favorite soaps on there. I was debating on adding my colognes. I don't know if I want to put the guys up on that yet. I don't know if I want to head up my secret. my two favorite colognes. It's two favorite ones. But I might add it on there too. There's still like quite a few things I wanted to put. And then there's another page with all my computer stuff, but my computer stuff is pretty kind of expensive, so. But it's a separate list. Use ear protection. Don't wind up like Ethan Crumley's dad. Yo, the hiccup stream was crazy. Everybody was like giving me all these remedies, and I was trying some of them out. And I thought the peanut butter one was ridiculous, and I was like, there's no way in hell. And then when I just got so desperate, I was like, you know what? Okay, I'll do it. Fine. I do have the Johnny Depp cologne. I have two of them, actually. I don't use it much. People love it. Sauvage. It for some reason, it kind of gives me a headache. That's the thing too with colognes. Like I just have like a sensitivity, I guess, that like to certain smells, if it's too strong or like a certain whatever, end up getting a headache. So I have to be very picky. But I do have it. I like it. It smells good. There's Chrome is one of my old favorites. It's actually cheap and affordable too, Chrome. And then there's one that I found like last year that I freaking love. I don't remember the name of it. It's a green bottle. Smells so freaking good. I remember the name. Bottle cologne. Oh, it's Coach. It's Coach. Men's Coach. That shit smells so good. So good. I was even told I can't wear it out. The hiccup straw works. I gotta try it out the next time. Luffy had a really bad thing of hiccups recently too. Curve. I don't know. I might have curve. I don't know if I have it or not. I've definitely had it in the past. That was a highly, like, everybody had curve on, I guess, back in the day. Everybody who's anybody had curve. Curve. I thought it was all right. I think those were one of the ones too that was kind of strong for me. I had that other one too by Paco. What's that guy's name? Paco Rabanne. That 1 million one. That one smells good too. I don't really ever use it. There's two of them. So I have the 1 million one, and then I have this new one called. Let me show you. It looks like a robot. And this one I actually thought smelled really good when I was at the store, but then when I got home, I was like, wasn't that impressed after. I think colognes, it just all depends on like your body and your own natural scent and how it mixes together, you know, so what might smell great on me might not smell great on you type of thing. But I tried this Beanie Phantom. That one's actually kind of dope. Let me see if I can download it. My go-to is just that Coach one. That's my favorite one. The Coach and sometimes the Chrome too. That's the Chrome one I've had for years. It's always been like a really good one. Damn, Luffy said he had it for days. Did I play PS5 or Xbox? No, I thought about getting Xbox at one point. I really did, but I'm afraid to like get consumed in gaming because the way I look at it, every time I feel like if I'm gaming, I should be streaming type of thing. You know, like I don't know. But I used to play Call of Duty a couple times. I had Warzone on my computer. I used to play Warzone like nighttime after like everything's done for the day. I find it kind of relaxing. I didn't like Warzone 2 though, and I've done pretty decent on there sometimes. I had some videos I recorded, some wild stuff, but which by the way, it got pushed back again. When Grand Theft Auto comes out, I don't know. It's going to come out for PC too, so maybe I should just play it on console, but not console, PC. I wonder if it's going to be multi-platform, but I heard Grand Theft Auto 6 got pushed back again to 2025. I don't know if that's because I thought they said the end of 2024 or something. Now it's 2025. It's gaming channel. I could do that. Creed is a. Oh, I thought you were talking about the game. Cologne? Creed Cologne. Whoa. That looks interesting. That shit $1,000? Oh no, there's one that's 1,000. Hell no. But there's some smaller ones. I'd have to definitely go in the store and try it. There's one that's 258. And what's the size on that? Pretty expensive. It looks cool though. Creed. Do you know your Creed? Let me show the picture to everybody. Oh, the new Fallout. I've played one of them a long, long time ago. I don't know if it was 1 or 2, but I know that's like a classic PlayStation game. I don't know if it's on Xbox, but I remember it's PlayStation. Creed. Classic to Calvin Klein. Anyone recommend a green drink mix? I don't know, actually. Oh, started playing Halo. I have friends that we back in the day we used to game, and it was very time consuming, and my friends would some of them I don't even think they were working. Some of them would stay up like 2 days straight, almost sometimes even pushing 3. playing World of Warcraft. I had a job at the time, so like I'd play for long periods of times, but I had to get off. I could never catch up with them. But that's the thing, is like I know I can't go back to that. I don't even have the time to do that. I would do something casual, like some type of first-person shooter, maybe even Grand Theft Auto whenever it comes out for fun. Okay. Devin Haney says Ryan honored the $500K per pound. Oh, they said per pound. Per pound. So he would have had to pay 1.5 mil, I think, huh? Now, I don't know if he's just saying that. Maybe they're just between each other, like, hey, we're going to pretend we're doing this bet just for fun and whatever, but we're not going to really pay each other. But I don't know. Maybe you know, maybe they did. Maybe they did. Paid it off. Devin Haney in 24 hours. Yeah, Kev. Literally, as you're saying it, I'm pulling it up. It's just like almost a 30-second delay, but yeah. I didn't know that. I thought he was just paying $500K. Oh, it's a show? Wow, fall up. Damn. Big Crumbs, that could be a really fun idea. Yeah. I used to play with a buddy of mine, Silvio, sometimes, but that might actually be kind of fun. It was actually on Discord. We stopped doing it. On Discord, it was really fun, too. They had this thing in the public voice chat that apparently Discord has games, too. And so we used to play a Scrabble type of game. It was a lot of fun. Not as advanced as, you know, one of these shooter games or whatever, but it was a lot of fun. Oh, FIFA. I never got into FIFA, but I had a buddy that loved playing that game. That's a classic one, too. People just, you know, every year get the... Silvio, I don't know. He's been working. $1.5 mil. Damn. Somebody said 1.5 mil for being overweight. Yeah, these people are crazy. That's what Twitter's kind of funny. Somebody said there was no contract agreement. Nothing was legit. All right. I guess I'll call it for now. But it was nice hanging out with you guys. Dr. Ed's wife, she was in the chat the other day. I haven't spoken to her in a while. I mean, I've called her a few times. We had some conversations, but it's been a while now since we talked. So she was dealing with a lot, obviously, you know. All right, guys. I'll catch you later. Take care. Thank you again so much for hanging out. Bye. Bloop, 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 bloop. Bloop. I hope we get a chase. Something good later. Chase or standoff or something. But, I mean, honestly, whatever happens, happens, because I'm just looking for it. I think tomorrow's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow night. So, all right.